Welcome back, Odooers. My name is Jose Ignacio on vacation mode. Because everyone knows what time off is. You know, working for a vacation, all that jazz. Anyways, employees deserve their well-earned time off, and taking time off helps our team stay healthy and happy. So let's see how to manage time off in Odoo. So let's hop into our database. So here I am on my time off dashboard, which shows a calendar view of my schedule. These days in gray are the best days. They are my non-working days. There's also a helpful summary up here at the top that shows us our vacation time off with our days available, as well as our sick time off, and it's great to know where they're at. Now, moving forward, I can also see how much time off I'm going to have in the future. If I change this date that we have up here in the top right, so let's say we go into next year. I want to see January 1st. Boom, give it a second to update, and look at that. It updated automatically right over there. Now, if I wanted to, I want to make this accurate again. So we're actually going to go back over to today because I'd like to use all of my days before they expire. Now, over here on the right side, we have a legend. It tells us all of the time off types and their statuses, which we have validated, to approve, and refused. And if we go back to last year, we could talk about my vacation, which I will always bring up. These days in blue back in April happened to be the time I took my cruise to the Bahamas. And these yellow days over here aren't that great because they're the days that I was sick. And if I want to check the status of my time off allocations, I can actually go to my allocations page by going up here to my time, my allocations, and boom, would you look at that, listed right there. On this page, I can see the total time off that's been allocated to me by my manager with the status of each one color-coded over here to the right. That makes it very useful. The manager is usually the one who actually sets up these allocations, but an employee can submit a request using the new button up here in the top left as well. Now, there happens to be, however, no guarantee that they may approve it, so your mileage may vary, and always remember that, Odooers. Moving on, if I want to see my submitted time off request, I can actually go to my time off by selecting my time off. Boom. And here, I can see that most of my requests were approved, and one of them needs to be approved, my family trip. But that's not going to happen yet, so I'm sure my manager will approve that soon, I hope. Now, let's put on our different type of work hats, and let's say that I'm the human resources manager, and I want to set up a new type of time off. To do that, I'm going to head up here to configuration, time off types. Okay, here we just select the new button at the top. Now, let's think about this. We've recently started offering volunteer time off, so let's create that new type of time off at this point. We're going to start by giving this a nice little name, volunteer time off. Very easy. And let's start with this first section for the time off request, our approval section. So for approval, I'm actually going to choose and leave it at by time off officer. This means that only our HR department will approve these time off requests. Now up next, it's time to choose something else. In our case, I am going to choose myself as the notified person. So we're going to pick this first name. That's our name today. Now, the type of the take time off in is basically over here going to be either a half day, hours, or a day. And I did say that this is going to be the type of thing where I think somebody's going to volunteer for a full day at this point. And one day is going to equal 8 hours, but if I wanted to, I could set this to half days or hours instead, as I just shown you. Then, after that, it's time to start picking a color. I'm going to pick a nice purple. Purple's a great color. And now I can also pick an icon. In that case, let's go with, I'm going to assume that something that really matches this should be perfect. I'm going to go with a clock. Kind of works. And as you can see, there are plenty of other options that we can customize to fit our company's needs. But we're going to keep everything as is. And I'm going to go up here to the cloud and save manually. But that's only half the equation. I still need to allocate some time off for my employees to use this type of time off. So in order to do that, we actually need to go up to management at the top and select allocations. Now inside of here, you want to select new. And here in the time off type, you want to select that volunteer time off. And now we're set. Now I'm going to basically pick a few more options here because below this over the allocation type, we have two of these little options that we have. It means how my employees will receive this time. If I choose accrual allocation, I can choose how much time off I want my employees to earn based on how much time they work, using an accrual plan in that case. And then that's where we see that as the drop down over here if we have a regular one or anything else like that. But I want them to have this time off all the time at once. So I'm going to choose regular allocation, which makes that option disappear right there. Now, I want this to start today, and in my case, no limit. It's never going to expire, so everything looks good there. Now, moving forward over here to the right side where it says mode, I can specify who I want this to apply to. I want it to apply to the entire company, so I'm going to select, in my case, by company. There's a few other options like by department, employee tag, as well as by employee, but in my case, by company right there. Super awesome company. You can also select your company from over there. And that's what makes it like really easy. And now I didn't skip it, but we're going to move down here. We're over here at the allocation field. I'm going to specify how many days of time off my employees will receive. The default is 1 day, but giving back is important. So let's change that. We're going to go with a really nice number of 3 days. We're very generous here. And let's not forget a title. We forgot that for once, Odooers. Let's call this volunteer time off. I'm amazing with words like this. Everything looks good. So in our case, let's validate this. Great. Now we're ready to see this time off in action from the employee's point of view. So we got to take our hats off. Now let's jump back into my time off dashboard by going into the app and look at that. Voila, we have 3 volunteer time off days available. And if I want to request time off to volunteer, I just click on any date on the calendar and boom, we have a little pop-up here and we can start selecting our options. I'm going to pick volunteer time off for the time off type. And the dates, it's just going to be that 18th. So we're going to hit apply on that first date. And it's only that first date. So there we go, 1 day. And if we wanted to, we can add our description here. In my case, Habitat for Humanity. I'm going to be building a house, hopefully with non-broken chairs. And we're going to hit save. And just like that, we now have something that is going to be appearing on our calendar. And it's a nice purple like we set up. Great. And as an update, we now have 2 days off remaining. And that's wonderful. Now an HR administrator needs to approve this. So let's see how that works. So I'm going to go put on my HR hat now. So in order to do that, we're going to jump up here to management and time off. Boom, right there we could see it immediately. I could see that right now it's in the to approve status, which means as an HR manager, I can approve it right here by selecting approve. And just like that, all set. Now, if I quickly put my employee hat back on or take off at this point, we'll see something else. To check in on this time off, I can actually go see my request under my time off, and would you look at that? There it is up at the top with the status is green over here for approved. A user can actually cancel and delete their own approved or refused time off requests, but only if the time didn't actually start yet. So remember that for the time off. And this typically happens if vacation plans change. Now I know for some Buffalo doers out there, sometimes vacations can be canceled because of a blizzard. As a manager, let's say that you have a day where you need your team in the office. No exceptions. In that case, you can configure a mandatory day. Mandatory days are set to prevent employees from taking time off on a specific day. We can actually set this up under configuration, mandatory days. Let's select new up at the top. And firstly, we got to have a name. So we're going to name this one quarterly meeting. Okay, perfect. Now I'm going to add in the dates real quick. Let's pick a couple months from now just to let them simmer for the year. April 20th. For both of these, and then we're going to give it the color red. Nice, ominous right there. Now this event is only a day long, but I can block out more time if needed. Once that I've picked the color, I'm all set to go because that's going to come in handy in a second. And I'm also going to leave this departments field blank so that it can basically apply to everyone company-wide. So we're going to leave it blank. All right, once that we're done here, we just click out of there. It's fully saved. Now let's be an employee again. Now as an employee, back on my dashboard, would you look at that? There's a date that has been blocked off for April 20th and it's marked in red. And it's listed over here on the right underneath mandatory days as well so that I know about that quarterly meeting. And if an employee attempts to request time off on that day, they won't be able to. A warning will appear when they try to request the day, telling them it's a mandatory work day. And that's it for this tutorial about time off. Thank you for watching, Odooers. Now go get a snack and thank you. This was a very deep one.